Welcome to another exciting episode of Captured by Women. Today's episode promises to be very interesting and engaging. We're going to be discussing the unfortunate incident of mass failure of students of the Ghana Law School. We'll also be looking at the issue of unemployed nurses who've been trained but are yet unemployed by the government. And finally, on our lifestyle segment, we're going to have Ghana's first and only fruit and vegetable craft artists. It's going to be an exciting time, and you don't want to miss out on any of the things we're going to be discussing today. So please stick and stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back. So on the spin, we're talking about unemployed nurses who picketed at Ministry of Health in this week because, of course, they are unemployed after 2 years of finishing their required training. But that is so serious because recently it seems the trend to get the attention of government is to picket. But ladies, you know, this trend is recurring and it's becoming a problem where it seems until you go and picket, no one will listen to you. But is that the way to even go in this current age?
Well, I think that people have felt over the years that until, as you said, until they demonstrate or protest, they are not heard. This latest saga, I read that they sent petitions, they sent delegations. So the only way to really catch the attention of the authorities was to go to the Ministry of Health and stay there, I hear, for 2 days and make noise to get the attention of the authorities. It's unfortunate. I mean, as you said, they've been unemployed. They finished training in 2016. And have still not been absorbed. But about the issue of the bonding, I understand that government is no longer obligated to hire them because the policy ended in 2014. So I don't know, Petra, what do you think?
It's a whole conundrum of issues. There's the group that's trained, they finished their service and they're supposed to be employed. And there are those who are trained and bonded and they're demanding that because they are bonded, they should be given employment. There are a few things that come to mind. One, the fact that we do have a serious need of healthcare professionals.
Yes,
so every public health institution you go to, you realize that there's a shortage. And that's evident by the queues. Okay, so Nana, I'm sure you can tell us. That's evident by the queues. So that's one thing. And I'm thinking, so if we do have a need for these professionals, why can't we absorb them? What's the issue? So that's one thing. The other thing is, so what about the issue of, so we've trained you, we've provided you the skill, do we have to, by all means, employ you? And I remember last year, there was a conversation around that. I remember a few of them were interviewed on 3FM, and one of the things the presenter asked was, okay, so why can't you just go and get your own job
or apply to private health institution?
But those jobs are also non-existent. And the thing is, when they're going into training, one of the thoughts, the things that goes through their thought process is, this is going to be a ready job. So when you're done and you're now being told you don't have a job, it's like a
big issue because you see, when you put people in training, I, for one, believe that government should have gone through the right processes. And so, you know, scientifically, the math would have been done. You know, you're putting people through, say, a 4-year course. They'll finish in 2016. What happens after that? They'll do their training, blah, blah, blah. We have to absorb them. So at which point does government, of course, people will say government is supposed to be a continuum, but we don't see that happening. Because if we really thought about it like that, then right when they're in school, you should plan for them throughout life, technically. It's not a start and stop issue. Because 2 years down the line, for me, my biggest issue is the fact that you know how difficult it is to live in Ghana. And at the point where you finish school, your parents, I mean, it's our culture. They seemingly don't have any responsibility at that point to take care of you, and so you're on your own unless you have a benevolent, you know, parent who decides
to support you.
But it's not their primary responsibility anymore because you're an adult. And so these people get to that point, they know, oh, at least I'm going to be working to either support myself and even maybe help the family for all the help they offered me. And you're 2 years down the line.
But the thing is that the reality is that government alone definitely cannot absorb them. I mean, I listened to
cannot or does not want to because there's still available space.
There's available space, but we know budgetary constraints. We know that I heard the Minister of Information saying that the plan, I think now they are compiling the database of the nurses. They will go through a validation process, and then after that, the plan is to absorb, I think, is it 32,000? So I still think there will still be a backlog. I think government knowing it's looking forward and knowing it's not being able to absorb them is why they scrapped the bonding policy in the first place. So I feel that, I mean, if my sister was a nurse or my brother was one of the nursing assistants, I would advise them to channel the same level of efforts they're using to picket to also, you know, look around, because government is necessarily not
I don't think the difficulty so much is the looking around. It's the fact that for 2 years they've been in discussions with you and you've never told them at any point that go and be on your own. The promise is we're looking into it, we'll help you, we'll do something. And so, Rosemond, because I've been in a similar situation where for 9 months, and really, if you know government is the only one who's supposed to employ you because of what they've told you even before you started your practice, at no point would I consider an alternative because this is what I feel is my route.
No, but
you know, so if you want to give me an alternative, then let me know right from the start.
No, but I want to believe that. I mean, they've completed their training in 2016.
Yes.
This thing was, the policy was scrapped in 2014. So
but they hadn't, but until then, they hadn't gone on their word to say they're not going to remove the bonding. They were still bonded. They still technically are
bonded. But the thing is that, for me, government can't absorb them. So they have to look elsewhere.
No, but 2,000 will cater for 2,000 who are the unemployed.
But is that the totality of the... I still feel that, and I don't want to even believe that this would happen all at once. I want to believe this will be in phases. So you would, even if government decides to hire everybody, it's not everybody that will be hired at a go.
But their juniors were hired. You see, that's where the discrepancies come.
Rosemond, are you saying they should stop complaining?
No,
and just
Petra,
find
that's
other options?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
For me, as I said, there is no there's no possibility that government can take all of them. So instead of picketing, I mean, the issue has been brought to the to the forefront. Government is looking into it. The validation processes are going on. So instead of waiting and sitting idle for you to be hired, also look around. I mean, that is what I would tell my sister or any other relative who was also in their situation.
Well, so that's what I'll
wait forever.
You mentioned that it happened to you for 9 months, and it does happen to doctors, because I aside of the nurses, there's also the group of veterinarian surgeons who are also waiting to be absorbed. How is it like? Because you mentioned 9 months. I know people who've been waiting. The nurses have been waiting for 2 years. Is it what you would describe as a creeping delay? So you're being told, okay, next month, next 2 months, and then you're waiting, and before you realize...
I'll give you a classic example, because the University of Ghana Medical Center, as of now, which is, you know, being tossed up and down, people are still not employed because they have actually put their hopes in that place. What happened was we went for interviews, and at the point when you went for an interview, then you knew, oh, at least they're setting something rolling. And I remember we even asked, when do you think this thing is going to start? At the time, I think I remember hearing March. So everybody was all... No, there was even a January time then.
Was it
2018?
Okay.
So let's say this thing started around June of 2017. So they said January 2018 latest, everything would have started. So you're hopeful. But at the same time, Ghana Health Service is employing. The teaching hospitals are also employing. You are in a dilemma as to even where to go. And people who actually held the confidence, because UGMC had promising prospects of residency immediately, you enter and all that. So of course everyone wants that. People actually didn't go onto the Ghana Health Service or the other hospital payroll because they are hoping for this. So there's that desire where you know you want to go into a particular place because of the prospects it holds and because they've told you it's available. And so that waiting thing, I believe no one wants to sit at home aloof saying, oh, there's no job for me, let me just wait for government. But it's because they keep promising you that there's hope in the next month, there's hope just around the corner, and so you might as well think, let me wait. Up until a point you realize, okay, if they came out to tell me right now that I know UGMC is not going to start anytime soon, I for one have, you know, closed my mind to the fact because maybe I have other opportunities. But that other person who really now doesn't have the opportunity because other hospitals have closed their employments, what are you going to do but sit and wait? You know, so it's not as easy as it seems to say that. But I'm sure on the other side, on the flip side, I really think there are still some nurses who get some opportunities out there on the side. But you're not gainfully employed. And those times, people tend to exploit you because you're not technically employed properly. And because you're desperate, you know, you're just going for any pittance. But if government today says, you know what, guys, we can't. Let's sit down and have a discussion. We're not going to be able to do this. So go. We will support you maybe entering whatever hospitals you want, support you in any way possible, or even give you some allowances because we've delayed so long. Something, at least, make the effort.
But I think they've made a tacit. I mean, Honorable Mr. Hamid made that tacit, sign when he said that, yes, we would employ you, but be reminded that we are not obligated, you know, so it's so just to give them that sign. So I think it's two-way. I mean, I agree with you that probably there needs to be a clear sign, a clear communication, you know, so that people can know their options and chart their way forward.
But the confusion again is, how do you get your juniors being employed, okay? And at the same time, even the private nurses who also picketed started their verification process. How would you feel when you've been delayed the opportunity 2 years ago and up till now, people below you are seemingly getting... So it means at least there's money for some people, just not you people. You know, and that's why I think the confusion... Like, what do I have to do to get there?
We also need to talk about generally the issue of unemployment and the gradually creeping into our system, the feeling of hopelessness. Because the more we feel like, okay, we don't have any way out, there's nothing going on, there are no opportunities for young people, there are no jobs, and we have to demonstrate, we have to go and pick it. We should see that that's a sign of something else simmering undertones, and we have to begin to be concerned about that. So.
Anyway, but guys, that's all we have to say about the unemployed nurses. Our hearts does go out to them. We hope government will listen to them, and as they have promised to employ these 32,000, these 2,000 who picketed at Ministry of Health will be taken care of. We'll take a break at this point. We'll be back with more here on Captured by Women.
Welcome back to the show. On Big Bang today, we are going to discuss the all-important issue of the mass failure of law students in the Ghana bar exams. And to help us discuss the issue is Mr. Sedem Ofori, who is the head of research and news planning at Media General. Sedem, you're welcome to Captured by Women.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So I just want to find out, what's your general thoughts about this failure in the exams? What are your thoughts about it?
Well, a number of things have been happening with respect to law exams and even the legal profession in Ghana. And I think this is just one such instance for us, an opportunity for us to discuss those issues. Often law studies and law exams are viewed almost as an elitist thing. And so while you may have those issues dominating the headlines in the media, when it happens on the labor front or maybe at the BEC level or at the WIAC level, often when it happens to law students, it's seldom spoken about. I think there's an opportunity for us to be able to hone in on legal education and the practice of the profession in Ghana. There have been calls after this mass failure, as you described it, there have been calls for an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the failure, even for a recompositioning of the General Legal Council because of their history. This General Legal Council intended over the admission procedure that was declared as unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, and there are many who feel uncomfortable with this same institution being the one to be setting exams or organizing examinations for the law students. They're asking that the individuals, not the organization itself, but the individuals who constitute it be sort of changed. But I would like to look at this issue as an opportunity for us to discuss the more pertinent issues that affect legal education in the country. We are all too aware of the limitations that are imposed on the number of admissions for professional studies for the bar exam, the same exam that about 81% of the students have failed. But it appears that this relationship between the students and the faculties is one that benefits the institutions when the students fail.
How so?
Because when you fail the exam, when you fail the bar exam, you do a reset by paying 750 Ghana cedis for each paper.
And how many papers are there?
There are there are several of them over the period, but if you were to fail 2, 3, the rule is that if you failed more than 3 papers, you are supposed to restart the program altogether again. But even if it were 1 paper that you were rewriting, that'd be 750 Ghana cedis. But for those who want a remarking, That is to say, you refuse to accept that you failed. You're convinced within yourself that you.
So you want it to be relooked at.
You just want it to be remarked.
Yeah.
If you were to ask for that to be done, you'd be charged 3,000 Ghana.
I heard that, and it was quite shocking to me. Is that the case?
That reminds me of what used to happen undergrad. I mean, it's almost the same. Remarking is, how dare you question us and ask us that? I mean, the whole point of saying that you don't trust that we've marked this script properly, you want a remarking. I remember undergrad, it was like you've committed the biggest sin. We never even imagined. I mean, just decide that you're going to rewrite this paper. Nobody ever, I don't think I know anyone who's ever gone for remarking.
No, because this is, it appears to be a deliberate disincentive to any student who wants to have his papers relooked.
It appears so, or you believe so.
Expensive. Well, 3,000 cedis is a lot of money.
It is an awful lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean, look, forget about whatever you've heard about legal education in this country. There really are people from poor homes who want to study the law. They can barely get the funds to pay for their tuition. Many of us do photocopies of textbooks because they are expensive. Books go for 400 Ghana cedis, 350. They are in those numbers. So for a student to want to have his paper remarked, to have to, this is, I would assume that this should be something of right. You know, that I have taken the paper, I'm convinced within myself that I did well. Can you just have a look at it again? It will cost you 3,000 Ghana cedis.
So then doesn't that tell us also about what our teaching and learning philosophy and thinking is as a people? It's almost as if you can't question the system. If a teacher says that it's two, it has to be two. Absolutely. Even if the teacher is wrong, you can't question it. I mean, we have to have a conversation about that because it's all about the issue of why can't we question the status quo? One. A teacher can't be 100% right. I mean, I teach, and if I say something that is wrong, my students will be able to say, Petra, what you said, counter-argument. I mean, be able to come back and say, can you take a second look at it again? Exactly. But you know, there's no difference. In Ghana, there's no difference. It's the same thing.
Touch on the issue of the Independent Examinations Board, because people have raised the concerns that the board is apparently made up of non-legal members. Of course, it's not disclosed because I hear the identity of these members are not publicly known. So I don't even know how they got about this. But again, my point is this board has been in existence since 2013. So at least they've been about 5 years in the system. And if seemingly we haven't had too many failures with the same board being in operations, then why are we targeting or calling them out now that there seems to be an issue? Do you think they should be left out?
Well, assuming that the so-called board is still constituted by the very people who marked the exams in previous years.
Looking at it,
you know, so that there are a number of issues that would only be reviewed upon investigation. That is why the call for an investigation to be done into this is so critical. People have alleged that accountants are marking legal papers. It is totally possible for an accountant to mark aspects of a legal paper because part of legal training involves taxation, etc. The professional course basically is to prepare you to manage and run a legal firm. And of course it comes with, you know, lessons on accounting, etc. So if those were the aspects that they marked, which sits pretty well within their competence, I think that is okay. But the investigations would have to show whether they went beyond that to venture into areas which will require expertise which they don't have.
But on the issue of the IEB again, as Nanama said, they were set up they were put together in 2013, and I read that they were put in place to check or to bring sanity and integrity into the examination processes. I know that the issue regarding the General Legal Council, all that has been simmering from sometime last year and has sort of toppled over this year.
Climax.
Yes. So, I mean, it's a really challenging time, you know, for law education in the country.
It absolutely is, but it's also a necessary one.
It's true.
A disruption of some sort.
It's true.
A disruption of some sort. That would force us to have the hard conversations about legal
introspect
education.
and see what's happening.
In this day and age, Ghana was among the first to have established a law faculty in its university. One of the very first on the African continent. I mean, it's natural given that we were the first in sub-Saharan Africa to gain independence. But we are currently among the least enrolling institutions on the continent. Nigeria, which came about 30 years after us, has more than 100 times the population. In fact, even if you were to use it on levels of population, they by far have exceeded the quota that would have sort of made it normal for that country to be admitting people. What is it about legal education in Ghana? What is it about being a lawyer that we have to impose artificial restraints on the admission into law schools. There are people who, not everybody wants to practice law.
Yeah.
The Constitution guarantees us equal opportunity, which in this case is access to education. If I have passed the exams, which the law requires of me to have before I go and do the professional course, why impose on me another examination which is out of the law? And then after taking that examination and having passed it, you are supposed to come for an interview. A very subjective process. You don't know the criteria for admission or for passing you as a successful candidate, even if you go for that interview.
You don't? You must have some, no, but you must have some idea, because I want to believe that for every interview, there's usually a criteria that is known to the candidate.
Exactly.
Sadly, in this instance, it's not known to you.
No.
So you don't know whether it has to do with your dressing. You don't know if it has to do with your composure. You don't know if it has to do with your knowledge, your grasp of the issues that you studied under the LLB program. What is it? It's not made known to you. It's totally at the whims and caprices of the individuals who are going to interview you. And even having survived that and gone into the professional studies, aside from the bombardment of costs, etc., and having to make time for this, because you see, for many of those who go and do these programs, they have to quit their jobs
and focus.
So that's the point. It's almost a full-time program. It begins in the morning, closes at night. So having gone through all this stress and be trained by some of the best justices this country's ever produced, and gone into this exam, and then come out with an 81% failure.
So it's great you talk about that, and I want us to refocus the conversation on the reasons for this mass failure. You know, I've heard people say that everything should be left at the doorstep of the lecturers, and that if you have this great percentage of failure, then it means that the content must have been, problematic. But I don't think that's fair also, because I think that there are several issues that feed into getting quality in education. There's the issue of the learner themselves, whether they are prepared, they've put themselves through the mill, the issue of the learning environment and all that. So what do you think has accounted for this huge, failure?
If the learner, the part of the learner was such an important part, I don't think this would have taken the lecturers by surprise, because their response also seems to suggest that they are surprised at the extent of failure. There should be some correlation, even for bad students. You can tell from the assignments, from the projects you assign them that this is a struggling student. But when the disparity is so huge, when the gap between their performance in class being tested by these same lecturers on assignments, etc., and then only for this exam to measure that 81% have failed.
But
look, of the 81%, over 260 of them would have to retake the papers.
And they have to pay the
750. But that's still an awful lot of money.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
A good number of them also would have to start, for those who fail totally, they would have to begin the program right from the beginning. So you have another 2 years to go through again.
And that's
which will mean
fees and time and energy.
But let's touch again on the, the transparency in the process, because I remember reading a comment of one person who says he went through the process, went to interview, and they even asked him, which campus do you want to be on? And he at that point thought, oh, I'm in. But only when the list came, his name was not there. So he's thinking maybe his name was pulled out to push some high and mighty person's child, or something. Then really it happens across board. But doesn't this bring to issue the fact that maybe first of all the entrance exam then really should be scrapped? Because my perception is when you do the entrance exam, you're trying to screen and take a certain crop of people. But if these people of a certain intellect you take through the process and you still are able to fail so much of them, then what did you really do to start off with?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Because
but
I see that the people who've taken the bar exam have gone through the very stringent process all through, and they're supposed to be like the creme de la creme who've made it to the top. And so then
why?
Should we be asking how did they get into the system?
So I think it's both. To relook at the assessment process for getting them into the law school, and probably also looking at the examination processes. I think it's both ends need investigation, because as you said, creme de la creme, but here at the final stage, so we need to look at both ends of the equation.
An investigation will help us establish some of the facts. For now, it remains largely speculative.
So then, do you believe there will be an investigation? Would there be an investigation?
I wonder, because that's been the call of the student. But first of all, let's go back to basics. The exam that you take, the requirements of an exam and interview for you to go into the professional program is illegal. This is not my opinion. This is the Supreme Court.
Yes.
It
so
is
that's
unfounded in law. It's arbitrary, and I think the General Legal Council acted ultra vires. They exercise powers they don't have.
Yeah. But that's what they are trying to correct with the LI, isn't it? Which is also
about 10 days to mature, and the parliamentarians have assured us of their commitments to jettison it from the process. Let's wait to see what happens. But I think that would be in the interest of justice. Parliamentarians, after all, represent us.
They do.
That which does not sit in the best interest of your children, of your students, of your husbands, I don't think you should stand in the way of that. Mothers and daughters also. I'm captured.
I was going to say. But you know, while you talk about, so you started by talking about the fact that we've not had a lot of legal education doesn't get into the headlines, doesn't get the conversation. Shouldn't we rather also be thinking of how do we get everybody involved in this conversation? Because the end result of not having enough lawyers in the system has implications on the masses. It's the reason why people are in remand for many years. It's the reason why people can't afford legal aid when they should. So you go to courts, you're supposed to have legal assistance.
No one shows
Sometimes
up.
nobody shows up, so you're on your own. Maybe the person doesn't understand what is going on. They're thrown in jail. Things like that. We have to find a way to get the society involved in this, because it seems like the law and legal practice is like a small group of elite people, and we're all speaking big English.
But to tell the truth, it really isn't. I mean, beyond those who
because we all are involved.
be coming from homes that have big names, children of judges, children of renowned lawyers, etc. You come across it, you meet them in the faculties, and to tell the truth, having been there, they are not the best performing students anyway. I'll be surprised if you have that in the medical profession. You know, so you have all these happening, and it lends credit, some credence, unfortunately, to the perception that it's an elitist program. But the vast majority of students there are ordinary Ghanaians who have earned their keep. They've had to battle through even an illegal exam and interview process to get a seat in the classroom. So this is an opportunity for us to have this conversation again.
It definitely is.
And when you deny a person who's committed to the legal profession, who's committed to becoming a lawyer, especially one who's driven by altruistic intentions or motives, when you deny them an opportunity to study, it's the entire society that suffers. Because we lose a lot of money entering into contracts with foreign states, etc. Just read the news. It's there. Because there are people in charge of the process who don't even understand or just don't care.
And on that note, thank you very much, Sedem, for joining us. You've totally given us a very interesting perspective to all of this. But we will encourage that the conversation continues beyond just Captured by Women and over here, because everyone has a right to a fair hearing, has a right to justice, and the law is very critical to our existence as a people. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be going into our Career Woman segment. Stay with us.
Welcome back from the break. On the Career Woman today, we are going to showcase to you a lady by name Anne Irabena Safo. Anne is the CEO and creative director of Anne's Perfections, and we have her in the studio today to discuss what she does and for you to also behold her beautiful artistry when it comes to fruits and vegetables. So Anne, you're welcome to Captured by Women.
Thank you very much.
In fact, when I saw your handiwork, which I'm sure viewers will see in a bit, I was just stunned. How did all this start?
Okay, so I'm very passionate about healthy living.
Okay.
And I realized that we have some difficulty in taking fruits and vegetables. And research has also shown that the average Ghanaian takes fruits once every 2 months.
Whoa.
Yes, it is. And the prevalence of chronic diseases is just overwhelming. And taking fruits and vegetables actually help reduce the rate at which people get it. So it's just a way to make fruits very attractive and irresistible, mouth-watering, so that people can enjoy it instead of just seeing it, oh, it's fruits, it's nice, and then people pass by. You know, we want it to be very attractive and for people to also eat and enjoy health.
So where did your journey start from?
Okay, so if I should start from maybe secondary school, I went to secondary school at Wesley Girls High School. And then from
Let me give you a whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. That's my school, guys.
I was going to say that. I know. She said Wesley Girls High School. Yes, like
live pure.
Speak true.
Right, wrong, and follow the king. That's right.
So from Wesley Girls, I went to Ken University to pursue my first degree in biological sciences. Then went to University of Ghana Medical School to do my national service as a research assistant, and then worked at an insurance company for a couple of months. And from there, I went to Huawei as an administrator. It's an engineering firm. It's a company. So I was there for about 3 years, but I felt like
it wasn't happening for you.
And I wanted to still go to biology. I wanted to pursue a career in biology. So I left for Ghana Christian International High School to be a biology tutor, A-level, and then WASI. I was there for about 4 academic years, and then I left to concentrate on the business, the fruit art, and then also have a bit more time for my family. Yes, so but I'm also currently pursuing an MPhil in human nutrition and dietetics.
Oh, are you? Oh, that's interesting.
So that's how it started.
So how did you transition from being, for me, one of the biggest things I want to ask you is from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. So you didn't just wake up one day and say, okay, you know what, I'm done with this teaching job. I'm going on my own, like jumping fully. How did you make that transition?
Okay, so way back in the university, I used to do a lot of business. Like I used to sell stuff from handkerchiefs to credit cards. And before I left Christian High, I did a lot of planning, did a lot of research.
You thought about it?
Yes, I thought about it. So when I was about to be like, oh, why? You'll be a burden on your husband. But I really thought about it. I worked at it. I did a lot of research. And I saw that uniqueness in the Ghanaian system, which is the eating of fruits and vegetables. And with the biology background, I'm able to really knowing the benefits of fruits and vegetables, not just doing it for money, but I'm really passionate about it.
But let me pick on Petra's question, because at what point did you say, wake up that morning and say, today is the day I resign and I go into, because it's difficult to make that switch, you know.
It is. I left in 2016, but before that, 2015, I wanted to leave. But I felt like, I still haven't put things in order. Yes, so I waited for another year, and then finally I was like, no. So when I was going to start, I went to my
the energy was down.
Yes, I was like, so why are you leaving? I just want to leave.
The spirit has left me.
But let me find out. I mean, when you were in school, how did you learn the whole art? Because when you see what you do, it looks amazing. And I don't know, but it looks like a very tedious and time-intensive, work. So, first of all, how did you learn all that? Did you go to a special school, or it was just something you had in you that you brought out or you nurtured?
Okay, so it was everything. I am also a makeup artist, but everything I try to do, I incorporate the healthy aspect. So mine wasn't really just doing the makeup, but adding the eating of fruits and vegetables, exercising, and all those things.
So you're naturally a talented, creative
I never did art, actually.
So you're naturally talented.
Or a gift.
Well, maybe a gift. Because so I met a very good friend of mine, introduced me to a friend of hers, a chef in the US. Yes, and she's also a makeup artist. So I did like an upgrade with her, and I got to know she's also into fruit art. I was like, I'm really interested in this. I think makeup, I want to do the fruit because I want to promote healthy living. So she taught me for about 5 hours, and I won't mention the charge, but it was very, very expensive. Yes, and that was some basics. So I had to practice on my own. So every other thing I'm doing now is something I actually learned on my own, just to Yeah, so.
But it's interesting you mentioned that you got someone to train you, and then you've been practicing. Because I think sometimes we think that when we want to start a business, it's just about passion and you have an idea. But then you've also mentioned that you have to go through the training phase and you have to keep learning because that's what makes you stand out. Because you didn't just rely on your natural talents. I'm sure you could have done some things on your own, but you had to get trained. So how much premium will you place on that 5-hour training session you had and how it has impacted your business currently?
Is very, very important. I mean, I can't take that out of where I am, yes, because I may, probably I had the idea, but having the training actually helped me to really know that this is what I want to do and having the passion about it. Without the training, probably it wouldn't have even happened. Yes,
okay. So since you basically, one of the reasons why you are doing this is to make fruits appealing for people to consume them more. What has been the general response? I mean, do you think that people are now, eating more fruits? I mean, people who see your work, those who are not non-fruit and veggie eaters, are they more motivated to eat fruits or vegetables now? What has been the general response since you started?
It's been good. Okay. It's been good because the first thing that will actually attract them to the thing is the artwork.
Yes, definitely.
So, can I eat it?
Yeah.
It's nice.
But don't they sometimes feel like, can I just take it to my house?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's
so beautiful. You just want to.
So some are like, do I have to eat it? What should I do with it? So that, you're supposed to eat. And it's been good. People calling for birthdays. For us
then the catch is rolling as well.
For weddings, for event setup. So it's been very good. At least you get people to eat fruits at those events.
And let me finally touch on this. I mean, you being a career woman, because I think you have a family as well. How do you blend that in perfectly? Do you work from home or outside?
From home, but it is not been easy. It's a big challenge, but I make up my mind that this is what I want to do. There are times I feel like I want to give up, and then all of a sudden somebody will just call you that I need this, and it just starts again. It's been a big challenge. It's been a big challenge, but the passion also pushes me to continue. And then my husband is very supportive. He's always like, hey, this thing, you have to practice. I gave up actually when I started. Like, you can't give up all the money we've invested in this. You have to practice.
It's because it was tedious.
It's tedious. Like the bouquet takes like 5 hours for me to do.
Which one is the bouquet?
The one with the fruits on it. Okay. Like I have here. Okay. It's the USSC. It takes me like 5 hours to do because I have to make sure I wash well, clean everything very well. They are not going to cook it, they are not going to warm it, so a bit critical about it.
Just let me ask this very final question before we let you go. In handling fruits, can you give us any tips, our viewers, any tips on how to better handle fruits in order to derive the maximum benefit out of it?
Okay, so you make sure you wash the fruits very well because they're not going to be warmed or washed or cooked. So you wash it very well, if possible under running water. If probably it's vegetables, you get some salt just to make sure the bacteria and all those microbes are off it. And then eat them chilled or cold. It's not good to, like you see at weddings when it's displayed for hours and you go and take them warm. It gives microbes the opportunity to multiply and cause food-borne diseases. So you make sure you eat them cold or chilled. Yes, basically.
And well, guys, on that note, we have been speaking to Anne Irabna Safo. She's the CEO of Anne Creations. But of course, she'll teach you more about how to handle your fruits in the lifestyle segment. So stay with us. Don't change the station. We'll be right back on Captured by Women.
Welcome back from the break. We still have Anne with us, who is going to show us her magic when it comes to fruit craft. So Anne, walk us through the process of what you do. First of all, how do you get started?
Okay, so before I start anything, I make sure I wash the fruits very well. It's very key. Then I wash my tools. So this is my carving tool. This is what I use for all the designs. So it's not a machine that I use, because sometimes people ask me about that. So I just use this to, because of what I'm going to do today, I'll just peel the green part, because you know the watermelon has layers, so I want some of the red to also show. So I'm going to do a rose flower on it. So I just peel.
But and let me ask you how you come about the pricing as well, because it's very interesting. You know, fruits, most people think fruits are expensive, and so I'm wondering, after you put all the time into this, how do you come about the costing?
Well, in fact, I'm not able to charge really how much I have to, because
you're doing family and friends.
More like it for now. It's because with the fruits I use both the exotic and then the local ones, just to give it the color, and the more variety you have, the more nutrients you get from it. So it's quite expensive and all the time, but I'm not able to charge much anyway. But for now, because of the promotion, like promoting healthy living, you want to put
yourself out there more. So what's the average number of time you spend in crafting, doing like a rose flower or doing any other design? What's the average time?
Okay, so the rose can take me, like, if I'm doing a very big one, can take me about 30 minutes. This one I'll try and do within like.
But wait, what are you doing now? Because you showed us a different part of that knife. But now
so I'm just trying to
draw it out.
So, and how long will it have taken you to make something like this? Because you presented us with this very interesting.
It's so lovely.
Women pack.
Well, so that takes me like about 5 hours.
Wow!
Thank you. 2 seconds to divide.
Wow.
Very much.
Wow. Welcome.
But how do you come about even choosing which fruits to put when, I mean, what to use when and all that?
Okay, so I read a lot about fruits and their benefits. Yeah, so, and then the contrast, the different colors also give it that beauty that we want to give to our guests. So we look out for all that. And then if someone calls and probably the person has a certain condition, let's say diabetes, we have apples that they have for people with diabetes. So I use those kind of apples. It doesn't have a lot of sugar. It's a bit sour,
And other fruits that you shouldn't combine with other fruits?
Oh,
things
no.
like that, no. Like
No.
You can eat any combination of.
Yes.
Pamela, I mean, when you're working with each fruit, do they present different
challenges?
Yes. Crafting challenges. Are some fruits easier to work with than others?
Yes. With the mango, sometimes it's so small in my hand, so it's a bit difficult. And if I don't get the type, maybe it's too ripe, it doesn't come out very well. It just falls off. So I don't. And with the watermelon, I have a way of selecting my watermelons. So to make sure it's not overripe, because if you do the art, it ends up falling inside if it's too ripe. So I look out for all that.
So are we actually supposed to eat like these things? Because they look too
beautiful,
nice.
you know.
I mean, you don't want
they
to
look
spoil
too beautiful to be devoured. That's the idea, to attract us to want to eat it.
Wow. Yes.
But let me take you back to the beginning. Do you remember how much time you spent on your very first craft?
It was a simple rose flower. It took me like 3 hours.
Wow. And now how long does that simple rose flower take you?
15 minutes.
15 minutes, so there's been so much improvement.
I almost gave up. Seriously. 3 hours.
You could have watched, bathed, watched movies. I mean, all that in those 3 hours.
Yes.
And I can see that it demands quite a lot of precision, because once you're working it and you get the design wrong, it's like you've messed it up.
You can't fix it.
So it's like, I hope you're not distracting you too much, because you need some
I feel like we should just open this up and start eating.
I know. But do you have any special vendors then you work with, market women you probably work with to get all these fruits?
I don't have one particular person I go to, because sometimes the fruit the person may have is not what I want.
Yeah.
Yes. And the watermelon has to look very nice, very, especially if I'm using it for a bouquet.
Okay. Oh, this is what you call a bouquet.
Yes, that's it. And this is the platter.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you by any means have anyone like ordering these for Valentine's Day?
People called, but there was an event on campus and a food festival.
Okay.
So I had to do a fruit cake.
Okay.
Yes, so I couldn't.
I think this would be wonderful to have someone's name
on
it.
it.
Will you marry me?
Last year we did, and it was rather unfortunate I wasn't around to do that. So because of that, I'm trying to organize a training, so that people have been calling. Sometimes I'm in school,
wanting to learn.
Yes,
but that's really
so I'm bringing.
That's really welcoming.
Yeah,
because
to be the first person and only person as of now to be doing this
and willing to teach others.
Yeah, you know, feel like, oh, don't teach, because if you teach it.
No, you really have to extend yourself.
Yes, people.
But do you have people
and the
you
more
work
you teach,
with?
the more you get better, isn't it?
You work alone?
Really, I work alone.
Wow.
Because I got one person and I think the work was just too much for him. Because I have to make sure you wash very well.
Yeah.
That's, you cannot.
So you did all this by yourself?
Yes.
I mean, whoa.
Yes, the artwork. But I have a son of mine
who
helps when he's around every now and then. Yes.
But let me also come to the fruits, because with a bouquet I see apples, but I know usually apples discolor almost immediately after slicing them. So what special tip do you have for that?
Okay, so use lemon juice or lime. People who don't like that taste, maybe you tell them to use any carbonated drink.
Okay.
So what you soak it?
You just soak it inside for a few seconds and you take it out just to prevent
lemon juice.
Lemon juice.
But would you advise? You said carbonated. Would you advise Coke? Because I've seen it discoloring.
No, so I'll advise that they use Sprite.
Okay, because it's colorless.
Yes.
I was going to say, yay!
You and your Coke frenzy. I know.
My Coke
so I just burst your bubble there. Anyway.
So what design is this? I can see.
So that's a leaf. Sometimes I just sit down. I have to create something.
Okay.
Yes. So this was more like a last minute thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But has anyone asked you to put someone's face on a fruit?
Woo. Yes. Well, that time they requested, I wasn't available. But I did one with my face.
Okay.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Interesting.
Anyway, but guys, it's time for us to unwrap this gorgeous bouquet.
Petra, drum roll.
Why don't you help? Let's all try and do this gently so we don't spoil the great work you've done.
I've actually eyed. There's
some
a strawberry
fruit in it. I know,
there.
and it seems to be only one. Sister, don't go there.
I said it first.
Who's the oldest? That's what they'll say. Okay. You have to do this
very gently.
slowly. Yeah. Wow. I think it comes off easy on the side. Then open your side and let's scoop.
And were you expecting us to actually eat this? Because you've packaged this so nicely.
Pretty. I even feel bad now.
You don't have to. Just enjoy it.
Could you burrow and nicely?
Yeah.
That's the doctor.
Yes.
She wants to cut
I'll
it
do
up.
the surgery. Yes. Great.
Okay. So very gently.
Is it cutting? Or it's not meant for this?
Okay.
This is PS one side.
Yeah. And then it will open it.
Okay. Hey, this thing is planning to be stubborn. Just because we are going to eat it. It's crying for its madam. Because it's Rosemont holding the surgeon's knife.
Okay, Amma, do your job.
Okay, so let me just try and dissect this thing as I can. But the knife, I think it's because it's a special kind of knife. It doesn't really get great. And there we are. Ta-da!
Wow.
The unveiling of, we just have the sword.
Commissioning.
Yes, we have commissioned Kaptured by Women fruit basket. Gorgeous, gorgeous there. So I'll start off with.
It's actually not one
apple.
strawberry. It's
it's
there are more
many?
than one.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't have to be the.
Yes, Captured by Women. And there's a beautiful rose there. I'll start off with the strawberry.
Okay.
Oops, and my strawberry just went down the drain. And that's okay. But you know, for people who have allergies like me to pineapple, but oftentimes you fruit people put them together. So with that, how would you advise your fellow fruit and vegetable people to go about it?
You need to know what the clients actually want. It's very key.
Yeah.
So what we do is, I first find out what the person really wants.
Okay.
Yes. Though we have the basic fruits we'll use. So they shouldn't mix up fruits. They need to know what the client wants.
Yeah.
And need to have patience for people.
Okay.
Really, yes.
Anyway, but let's see. That's a beautiful rose.
Yes, it's coming out.
And
Yes, it's
taken
coming out
less
really
than
beautiful.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Trust me.
It's coming out really
That is
beautifully.
so beautiful.
Wow.
Anyway. Let me
Okay.
steal another. I'm looking for.
So you said you work for, I mean, when you're crafting something, sometimes it takes you about 5 hours. Is it 5 hours continuous? Obviously, that must be tedious. So you take intermittent breaks, I imagine.
So I do the artwork first.
Okay.
And then when it's getting to time to do the bouquet, I wash them because everything has to be fresh when you are delivering to the person. So later on, I do the cutting. And then, so within that
well,
period,
and that's a good work done. I think
Wow.
on that you can just pause. It's okay. We've seen enough of you. You also have to come and join us. Enjoy your own fruit. At least enjoy the, the work of your hands.
What are you having next?
Now look at how women are
So
searching
there's,
for
Yeah.
there's
We
kiwi,
are supposed to
there's
start
apple,
there's
orange,
blackberries, there's
blackberries.
grapes.
There's pineapple, that fruit that I don't like. But anyway, guys, you're welcome to join us. Enjoy this with us. You can come and join us. You know where we are, so certainly come and join us. You know how people say, I said this, if you want to come and beat me up in my house. But we know you know where we are. Come and join us to enjoy this. And thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you joining us here.
But
Guys,
sorry, I want to say that because I want to promote the healthy living, we're having a training in March, and I'm bringing some people from outside to partner with. They have accreditation with the American Culinary Federation, Thai Chefs Association, Malaysian Chefs Association.
Okay.
And they have about 30 years of fruit carving experience.
so when they go to the website, they'll find all this information.
Instagram and Facebook.
Annie's Creation.
Annie's Perfections.
Annie's Perfections.
Okay.
All right, guys.
All right.
So on that note, unfortunately, we have to wrap up. You know, we don't have all the time in the world. Otherwise, we'll stay here and enjoy this with you. But guys, we'll be coming back same time next week on your screen with Captured by Women. It's been myself, Petra, and Rosamond. And of course, Anne has joined us here to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for joining us. See you same time next week. It's goodbye from us here.
Bye.